fail the real estate exam, it will not be because of math. It will be because of vocabulary. So, let me say that again. The exam is a vocabulary test. Discussed at the licensing exam, and if you don't understand the language, the questions can feel confusing, even if they're actually very simple. Therefore, today I'm going to break down the most important real estate vocabulary terms
you must know to pass in 2026, not to 100 words, not overwhelming.
Just the ones that actually show up on your exam. And here's the key. If you master these words, your confidence will change immediately. Your clarity will change immediately. And the exam, it starts to feel predictable.
Why vocabulary matters.
Most students make the same mistake. They try to memorize everything without understanding anything.
But the exam doesn't test memorization alone, it tests understanding.
If you don't understand words like an encumbrance, easement, voidable, estate, lien, fiduciary, you're not just missing answers. You don't even understand the question. And that's where people fail. So think of vocabulary as your foundation. If your foundation is weak, everything else becomes harder. But if your foundation is very strong, everything becomes easier.
Property terms.
Real property versus personal property. Real property is land and anything permanently attached to it. Personal property is movable. Simple? Now, here's how the exam will test you. A built-in oven is
Real property.
a refrigerator not attached.
Personal property.
And here's a classic trick, the chandelier question. Always ask yourself, is it attached? Was it intended to stay?
Fixture test.
A fixture is a personal property that becomes real property because it is attached. Remember this, Maria, the method, adoption, relationship, the intention, and agreement. If you remember Maria, you'll get these questions right.
Encumbrance.
Encumbrance. An encumbrance is anything that affects the title. That's it.
It just means there's a claim or a limitation.
Examples are liens, easements, restrictions, and so forth.
An easement.
An easement is the right to use someone else's land for a specific purpose. But here's the key. Ownership does not transfer. Utility companies, shared driveways, you're using the same land but not owning it.
Liens.
A lien is a financial claim against a property. Mortgage, a voluntary lien. Tax lien, involuntary lien. The difference here matters.
Ownership.
Joint tenancy. Joint tenancy means the right of survivorship. One owner dies, the other automatically owns everything. No probate.
Remember the acronym TTIP. TTIP stands for time, title, interest, and possession. Joint tenancy is a form of co-ownership where two or more people own equal shares of a property with the right of survivorship, meaning when one owner dies, their interest automatically transfers to the remaining owners, in addition to the four. Unity's time, title, interest, and possession. Joint tenancy requires equal ownership and creates that automatic transfer upon death, which avoids probate.
Tenancy in common, no right of survivorship. The ownership can be unequal or equal, and ownership does not transfer automatically.
It also means that two or more people hold an undivided interest in the same property, meaning everyone has the right to use the entire property, even if their ownership percentages are different. Each owner can transfer or sell their share independently, and when one owner passes away, their interest goes to their heirs, not to the other co-owners.
Tenancy in severalty, that means one owner. That's it. Simple.
One person owns the property entirely, with full control over all decisions, complete rights of use, and full responsibility for any liabilities. The owner can sell, lease, or transfer the property at any time, and when they pass away, The property is transferred through their estate.
Life estate, ownership for a lifetime. You have the life tenant and the remainder man. One holds it now and one will get it later.
Ownership for a lifetime. The life tenant has the right to use and benefit from the property, but must maintain it and cannot commit waste. The remainderman holds a future interest and automatically receives full ownership when the life tenant passes away. No probate ownership transfers instantly at death. Contracts.
Void versus voidable. Void means it never existed. Voidable means it's valid but can be cancelled. An example, a minor signs a contract. The contract is voidable. Consideration. That means value exchanged. Money, a promise, service. No consideration, no contract. A breach of contract. That's failure to perform. That's it.
But here's what that really means. One party didn't do what they promised. Maybe they didn't close, didn't pay, or didn't meet a deadline. And when that happens, the other party has options. They can cancel the contract, sue for damages, or even force performance in some cases. Bottom line, contracts only work when both sides perform.
The statute of frauds. Certain contracts must be in writing. And real estate contracts must be in writing. No exceptions on that exam.
No exceptions on the exam. That means no handshake deals, no verbal agreements. If it's not in writing, it's not enforceable. And here's the key: you need the essential terms, parties, property, price, and signatures. Bottom line, if it's real estate, get it in writing. Agency. Fiduciary. A fiduciary is someone who owes loyalty. This is you as an agent.
Remember this: loyalty, confidentiality, disclosure, accounting, obedience, reasonable care.
And here's what that means: you always put your client's interests above your own. You protect their information, disclose material facts, and follow lawful instructions. Bottom line, you are held to the highest standard in real estate.
And to a customer, to everybody we own, honesty and integrity. Dual agency. One agent represents both sides, the buyer and the seller. And this must be disclosed, always.
Which means you can't favor one side over the other. You must stay neutral. You still owe honesty, disclosure, and care, but loyalty becomes limited. And without informed written consent, dual agency is not allowed. Bottom line, transparency is everything.
Amortization. That is a loan paid over time with interest.
And here's the key: each payment reduces the principal, but early on, most of your payment goes to interest. Over time, that shifts toward principal.
Principal versus interest. The principal is the loan amount. The interest is the cost for borrowing.
And every payment is a mix of both. At first more interest, later more principal. That's how loans get paid down. Let's talk about how to memorize fast.
Here's how I actually learned this. Take flashcards. Say it out loud. Teach someone else. Practice questions daily. Don't memorize blindly. Understand the meaning.
And here's the key: repetition beats cramming. Study a little every day. Focus on weak areas, not just what you know, and test yourself. Constant libicus. Real learning comes from doing.
Now, if you master your vocabulary, the exam becomes predictable because now you will understand the language.
Comment below which word confuses you the most.
My name is Ben. I'm a real estate broker and instructor, and I'll see you in class. Aloha.